AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
We often talk about the fact that you spent so many games on the road. What are you looking for in this team tonight? You have the next 8 out of 11 at home. What are you looking for this team to get started and carry this momentum?
Just to continue to, do the things that we need to do to be, successful and competitive. No real magic. You got to keep defending and keep moving the ball, keep running. And I think those are the things that we are really committed to during a game that give us the greatest probability of having success.
This is the fourth game in a row for Chris Stapps being out with the illness. Is there any progression there? Like, when do you expect him back, or do you have any idea what the progress is with him?
Yeah, all I can say is, he's making progress.
What was your combination of a front-loaded road schedule to this point in the season and Trey being out the majority of it? How would you kind of evaluate how this team's done mixing that without the point guard?
Yeah, I think there's been, everybody's adjusted, on the fly to one another and Trey's absence, and I've been pleased with how we've handled that. I think as much as anything that we've done on the court, I think guys have been really, really focused, both with, sometimes it's easier to focus on the road, but, with respect to, we've had longer shoot around. There's been a lot of things we've had to do to try to, adjust as far as, just tactically and how we're playing on both ends of the court. I think our guys have been really dialed in on that and handled it in a very productive way.
Coach, to that point, you talked to Jalen, you talked to Nikhil, and you talked about their success with them, and they're the first ones to point it to somebody else and say, well, I'm having a good game because of this guy. I'm curious, and a lot of them say it's the off-the-court chemistry that they have. I'm curious the way that you have seen this team really just rally around each other. I mean, it can't be easy being on the road that long, been dealing with injuries, but it seems like it's such a selfless group. How have you seen that?
Yeah, I think the adversity gives you opportunities to feel that, and it goes to, some of the adjustments, maybe even, psychologically, the fabric of the team. That I think it's true. I think the reason that individual guys are having success is because they're thinking about one another, and I mentioned it the other night when, Jalen didn't score in the first half, and then comes out, and I told him, I think what oftentimes most of the time that doesn't happen, because the players start pressing a little bit. And he didn't change the way he was playing. He was still playmaking for other people and looking for each other and finding the keel and vice versa. So I think all those guys collectively are trying to make plays for one another. And when you do that, I think also psychologically, you've just thrown yourself into the game. You're just focused on the team and the things you need to do to help the team, as opposed to thinking about what's going on for you personally. And that's a big psychological shift a lot of times, and even if it's subtle. So those guys have, it's not just those two. I think they're all doing that, and I think they're learning how to communicate better. That's the next step. I do think time, off the court and time on the court are correlated, but there's also just communicating on the court. You can only have so many dinners that get you to talk on defense. So we've got to start doing that better too.
When the Clipper game out there, down big, come back, get a win. Looking back, Do you think that was one of the first building blocks of this toughness and resiliency you're seeing in your team?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not that long ago, and it seems like a long time ago in the NBA season. I think there's been a number of games like that, and as I'm thinking back, that particularly, that's when you have to remind yourself you can work hard and be whatever, and you need to be lucky every now and then, and that goes a long way. And when I watched Andy's shot go like this that game, I was very grateful that we had a little luck at that point, because I think it was affirming. So especially for a group that's learning about those things, to be rewarded for that is it goes a long way. And we've had a few games like that I think we've been deserving, but you get a break the right way, because there's other times you're not going to, and that clearly was, given the way the game evolved too, was an important game for us.
But I know the defensive class, by numbers, has not been the kindest thing for you guys. When you go back and
Understatement.
try to soften it a little bit.
Yeah.
When you go back and watch film, and I know it's always a team effort, it's a gang effort, like people say, but how do you address it with them as far as how to fix it in the meantime?
I think the first thing is just a tremendous amount of emphasis. Guys seeing film as a team, to understand that and own it. Guys seeing film individually about what more they can do. Are they missing a block out? Are they not being aggressive enough when they do get a block out? Where they're getting pushed under, or whatever the case may be. So the film is useful in that regard. It's something that you can work on even in non-contact situations in practice, where you finish every drill with when someone takes a shot and you gotta get hits. But I think that the biggest thing is just kind of understanding the mentality that we need to have. There's a lot of times on the perimeter we walk in and you see a lot of rebounds that are going to go long, and maybe we're tied up inside, and they're going over our heads. Those are ones we got to have. It's really difficult to defend after those two. So if you're in the charge circle, even if you don't have anyone to block out, so things like that, we're just on the margins. You just keep trying to figure out ways to be better. And then, as I said, the mentality, it's like you have a pack mentality in order to rebound. So a lot of times O's tied up, wrestling Duran, and he's not going to get it. His job is to not let him get it, and we just need to do it collectively.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.